Child's Play, a classic 80s horror movie responsible for more wet beds in the 80s and 90s than I'd probably care to think about. Written and directed by Tom Holland. No, not that one. It tells the simple story of a boy and his stuffed best friend. Only in this case, the friend is a creepy ginger doll possessed by the soul of a sadistic serial killer. Truthfully, a movie like this doesn't need much introduction because, let's face it, it's been in the public zeitgeist for years. But sadly, this flick doesn't hold up as well as nostalgia might suggest. The characters are flat and stereotypical and honestly kind of by the numbers. What saves it is the character of Charles Lee Ray, or as he's better known, Chucky. Played by Brad Dourif, this casting is inspired. His sadistic and menacing delivery gives a feeling of true enjoyment as he terrorizes Andy and the other characters. His pitch-perfect performance makes it clear why this franchise and character have endured for over 30 years. Sadly, most of the other aspects of the movie are token at best, just kind of there to be there. Like placeholders that kind of stuck. Andy Barclay, the child protagonist, played by Alex Benson, does a really good job, especially for a child actor. His emotions and reactions are believable, and the introductory scene where he's watching cartoons and making his mother breakfast is sweet and nostalgic, especially for kids that were raised in the 80s and 90s. Sadly, with the exception of the first few scenes that she's in, his mother, Karen, played by Catherine Hicks, isn't nearly as fleshed out. She does a fine job acting, but her character lacks depth and much relatability. And if she's flat, then Mike Norris, played by Chris Sarandon? Whatever. He's even worse. And that's not to say that he can't act. I mean, he was an intimidating sex symbol in Fright Night, so we've seen him do it before. But when there's so little to play off of, what do you expect? Mike Norris is just another no-nonsense asshole cop and has about as much depth as a sea cucumber. And unfortunately, that lack of depth sadly extends to the rest of the story. It's rushed and has a lack of build-up, and the flow and everything just happens. Unfortunately, the stagnation really strengthens the impact that Chucky has, which creates a really jarring distinction between, hey look, Chucky's on screen, to, oh, we're waiting for Chucky to show back up. And unfortunately, the entire movie doesn't really play into that. Later movies in the franchise do. They absolutely capitalize on the fact that Chucky is the most interesting character in the room, but this first movie really lacks that kind of depth and forethought that was put into it. Fortunately, Chucky really does save the movie. And all of the puppetry work and all of the scarred and damaged Chucky dolls that you used at the end of the movie are absolute nightmare fuel. It's wonderful. All in all, not a bad flick, but not as good as I had remembered. If you want to check it out, it's available on Netflix or other streaming services. You can probably get a copy of it from Walmart or other retail stores, either as a collection or in one of the bargain bins. This has been an UnKamen review on Child's Play, 1988. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Till next time.